Where'd we play?
Welcome to the Golf Loons podcast, one course at a time in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Where'd we play?
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Golf Loons podcast. Glenn alongside Twig. Twig, good to see you.
Great seeing you, Glenn. Good to see you.
We don't see enough of each other.
No, not at all. Yeah.
I don't think we're sick. I'm not sick of Twig yet, so that's a good sign. But we are continuing to play a lot of golf, a lot of new courses, and today's course was our first venture outside. Well, no, I'll say a second venture outside of the metro area, but our first one up north. And we got up to McGregor, Minnesota, beautiful McGregor, to play Minnesota National. Our first time playing there. I love playing a new course, and this was a special one.
Yeah, it was a pretty easy drive. It was only like 2 hours and 15 or 2 hours and 20 minutes. So it wasn't as long as I thought it would be. So it was a pretty easy drive. And yeah, very, very pleasantly surprised. We'll talk about it, but the course, we had a terrific day, and it had been raining a lot over the last few days and at the start of our drive. So like, oh crap, we're going to be mudding it all day. And we had super weather, a couple drops on the 18th hole was it.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
awesome day.
We had a 5 a.m. meetup time to get to a 9 a.m. tee time. So what better way to start off a day like that than Yellowbird Coffee?
That's right. If you need a little pick me up in the morning, Yellowbird is your place. But yeah, they have 2 locations: St. Paul on Selby and in Northeast Minneapolis, and drop in. They really have great teams at both places, so they treat you really well. But then the bonus is you've got really good coffee.
Yeah, it's all about coffee, community, and conversation.
Yep. And then after those 3 things, it's all about GP.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you to Yellowbird. A great day, and super excited about our guest that we had today. As a lifelong UMD Bulldog hockey fan, a guy that grew up a kid as a 4-year-old whose parents would sneak him in, even though he was probably too old. He probably needed a ticket. They stuck me behind their seats to watch all the UMD Bulldog hockey games growing up in the 80s. And we got to have our guest be the guy who ended UMD Bulldogs national championship drought, Kyle Schmidt, Hermantown native, now living up in Esco, not far from Minnesota National. The Natty, it was fitting that we had a national championship. The guy who won the Natty play with us at the Natty.
Kyle, we'll talk about this more later, but he was a really fun to play with, and a great person. I'd never met him. I had just seen. I'd heard him a little bit, seen replays of the goal, and then I couldn't tell you were excited about this at all. about a lot of Bulldog talk.
JP, I didn't need coffee to wake me up. I was ready to go.
Yeah. But no, I didn't. I guess I didn't think of that. You're the wordsmith. But yeah, the guy that scored the golden goal, the Natty goal, playing at the National.
Yeah. Sometimes life works in mysterious ways.
And it was all leading to this moment for Kyle.
Oh, God. I mean, where does he stack that compared to the goal playing with us versus scoring that goal against Michigan?
We'll have to ask him.
Yeah, I should have asked him in emergency night. But great round with him today. I can't wait to get to the emergency 9 with him. But first, let's get to our course. Minnesota National. Let's go to Twig's Gimmies.
Pick it up.
All right, Twig's Gimmies. Right off the hopper. First, we'll talk about more on the range, but right off the hopper, you're going right to the first tee and hitting over a pond on a par 5.
Yeah, I like starting with par 5s. And it's a little bit of a semi-blind tee shot. But just the fairway that you see to the left, you don't have to clear any water. You can try to clear the water if you want. That's kind of to the right. I think the first time there, I wouldn't advise it just because it's a totally blind shot to do that. But as you're used to it, a really big hitter could try to carry the water, have a shorter second shot in. But the tee shot, just hit it down the visible fairway to the left, and then it's a pretty generous fairway, more generous than it looks. And then from there, I think I just hit a little hybrid up for my second shot, and I only had maybe 60 yards into the green. So it's a hole that you can hit in two for sure. It pinches in a little bit on your second shot if you do lay up.
Trouble up there.
There's a little trouble left in a tree to the right, so you have to squeeze it in there. And then the green's kind of nestled into the hillside, but I think it's a nice opener. I would term it a gentle handshake.
You would,
yeah.
Okay, even on a par five.
Even on a par five.
All right. Moving on, I would say it takes a turn. Then it gets a lot more difficult on number two.
Number two, it's a beautiful hole. You're cut out of the woods. It's straight away, but the fairway kind of is like a turtleback. It kind of slopes off on both sides. So you really have to hit it down the middle. Trouble on both sides. So I hit a drive and I pulled it left. I found it, but I had to punch out. So I think if I played it again, I'd probably, since it's a mid-length par four, I'd probably even hit a 3-wood and just make sure you get it in the fairway. And then from there, it's a fairly straightforward shot. It plays, I would say, slightly uphill on the second shot to kind of a medium-sized green. But again, if you get the tee shot and play, that's the key on that hole. But it's pretty hole.
Yeah. Okay.
You're up north on that one.
Oh yeah.
Woods on both sides, so I like the feel of it.
Yeah. You definitely realize you're north after two, or starting with two.
Yeah.
Going on to number three, a long par three over stuff. And that's a theme in this course. You got to go over a lot on the tee shot. So number three is one of them.
Yep, three. You've got to carry some reads, and you've got to get it to the green. It's a fairly, I would think, receptive green to like a long iron or a mid iron, which is nice. But there's a tricky kind of like shelf on the back where the pin was when we played it, and then there's kind of almost like a huge thumbprint, like a big depression, like in the front right. And I 3-putted it like just beautifully because I had like a 35-foot putt for birdie, but the pin was sort of on this ridge. So really pay attention to the ridge. I think it's a green that just aim for the middle of it. But if it is in the back, if you can kind of edge toward hitting a little farther towards the back edge, it's going to help you. Yeah. I didn't hit mine quite far enough, so I had a big left to right swinger, and I played what I thought was enough, and the thing broke way down, and I was 15 feet on my par putt, so 3-putt for bogey. But it's kind of a sneaky, tricky green. That's another pretty hole, though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we go to number four, par four, fairly straight away here.
Yeah. Well, it does dogleg, but you've got some room off the tee on both sides, and then the second shot into the green, you've got to navigate. There's a bunker right, and then there's a bunker left, but there's room in front where you can run it up on this hole. So I would try to kind of hug the left side of the fairway on the tee ball if you can. It'll make for your second shot being a little bit shorter. The whole plays pretty level, but again, it's not as tight as the second hole for sure. So you've got a little room to spray it left or spray it right off the tee too.
Yeah. All right. Number five, par five. If you're playing from the blues, you better muscle up here.
It's decision time. I think it's a cool tee shot because you have there's three options. You can go left if you're a shorter hitter. That's what I did. There's a tree that kind of is on the far left corner. Yeah. And I hit out there and I hit like a pretty decent drive. And I only had 300 yards in. So I had to get 300 yards in on two more shots. It's a par five. Yeah. So totally doable. Kyle took the middle route. Then there's a kind of a big gap between that left tree and another tree. You've got to carry that ball maybe like 225, 230. But if you get that, again, you've got a nice angle into the green. You've got a little shorter second shot. Or you can show off like Glenn, and you can go.
We were in from the whites on.
Yeah. You can, if you really paste it, you can go to the far right, and then you've got it's kind of as the crow flies. That's a lot straighter tee shot, and you have a much shorter second shot in if you do that. And you pulled it off. You had a great drive. I forget how much you had in on your second shot, but it was probably somewhere in the 240 or 250 range. Yeah, it was still a long iron to get close to the green, which I was short right. Sure, yeah, but and it's the green kind of perched up, so I think that the toughness, if you miss it really short right, it can be a tough up and down. And I played it from the left side on my third shot, and it was kind of sneaky skinny to try to bounce one on there. I kind of managed to barely stay up on that right edge, and for my fourth shot, my fourth shot, which was a chip. But there's a multitude of ways to play it, so I liked it. I thought it was a really fun par five.
Yeah, it is a good hole.
Yeah.
All right. So now we move on to number 6, another par 3.
Yeah.
Carry this one too.
Yeah, this one and this depending on the tees, we played from the whites, and so we were far left. And if you're from the blues or the back tees, you're from the far right. And I think from the back tees, I think you have a better angle in to the green or to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So we had a little shorter distance, but it was a little trickier angle. There's a nice area that you can't really see that's kind of towards the middle of the green and the left part, where it's kind of like mowed down, really shorter fringe, and you can bounce the ball up onto the green, which you did a nice job of. You hit just right in front, and you bounded onto the green, which was a really good shot to hit the green and one. So you had a birdie putt coming up. I was a little bit I was a little bit short, but it was still a pretty doable chip. But I don't know. So again, I think it's neat if you're from the left side. You can for sure have a little bit left side to navigate to bounce it on, and from the right side you can bounce it on the middle too. I think the biggest thing is avoid the bunker on the right.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
On to number 7, par 4.
This was the number one handy. And the farther up you hit this one, the skinnier it gets. There's water on the right and woods on the left, and then the fairway kind of pinches in.
Yeah.
The farther up you go, so you can gamble and hit driver or see how far up you can get it, and you're obviously gonna have a shorter shot in. And then the green is fairly tricky too. So I think the main thing on number 7 is get your T-ball into play. And if you have to miss or leave it a little bit short, that's okay too. It's not the world's worst up and down.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then number 8, another par 4.
Yeah, this is one. You feel like you're up north. You've got woods on both sides. It's a pretty tight drive. There's more room than you think. There's a little more room, especially on the right, in the right rough.
Yeah.
So it does feel a little claustrophobic on the tee. When you get up near the green, again, if you pull it long left, you're in trouble. So a little bit short or a little bit short left, you can get up and down. But the green's a little bit tricky, so I would just think middle of the green on number 8 is good. But
All right.
yeah.
And then difficult par 4 to finish the front 9.
Hamburger Hill, uphill par 4. You
Yeah,
played
not
that
the hills on this course, but number 9 is definitely uphill.
It plays uphill kind of gently the whole way, and so I think the tees we were up at it was like 420 that day, but it felt longer because it was wet, but also just because of the uphill too.
Right.
And you've got trees along the left, so if you like to fade the ball, it's a kind of a tricky tee shot because you don't have a lot of room to the left to fade it. To fade it up. And then I would add like a club or a club and a half on the approach. And if you can miss that bunker in the front, then it's you're either gonna be on the green or it's not as bad of an up and down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Good way to finish the front end.
Yeah, it is a strong finish. And then we go to number 10, another par 5 to start the back 9.
This is for a par 5. This is a hard hole, and you got to. The day we played it was a little soggy, so I think if it was a little firmer, like it probably normally is, balls are going to roll out. But if you're a really big hitter, you might hit through the fairway. It runs out at like 290 or 300.
Yeah.
I hit an okay drive, and I had like a 200-yard second shot over the reeds to get to like the next part of the fairway.
Right.
So it's challenging. And I went in the stuff on my second shot. I didn't quite pull it up. But if you had give it heck on your drive, get it up as far as you can, without going in the reeds, because you're going to be needing that shorter shot on your second one to clear the stuff.
Yes.
It's definitely a 3-shot hole. And
then play it up the right side, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Play the right side. When you try to clear it, it's going to be a little bit shorter on your second shot.
Yep.
But then the third shot's no picnic. You got to, semi-blind or a little bit of a semi-obstructed view on your third shot. So it's a really meaty par 5.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now we go to 11, a par 3. There's no one thing you like and I like too, are short par 3s. There's no wedge shots on these par 3s. At Minnesota National.
No, this is like a kind of a mid-length par 3, and I love how the green's nestled. That there's all these kind of trees. They almost look they were like they're. I don't know if there was a forest fire there. They look kind of dead, but they're really striking.
Cool, like artistic.
Artistic, yeah. You'll feel like you're in a painting. And then when you drive from the 11th hole to the 12th, it was my favorite drive on the course. Just driving by all these kind of dead trees that were up. But the 11th hole, don't miss left. If you miss left, you're in trouble. So if you have to miss a little bit short, it can be a little bit of a tricky up and down because there's almost a false front or a hill to navigate. So I think middle of the green's good on 11, but it's I think the main thing is just don't miss left.
Yeah. All right. Number 12, par 4.
This one's
tricky.
It is, yeah. It's if the tees are up and it's downwind and you can whip up, you could make a case for trying to drive the green, for sure. If you play something like 220 to 230 off the tee to the right of the bunker, straight out, you can lay up that way, and then you'll still have like a mid-length iron in from there. So it's a little bit of a awkward tee shot in that if you haven't played there, obviously you want to avoid the center line or the center fairway bunker. But if you hit it a long way past that bunker, then you're going to be in the rough and you're going to have a tough shot, your second shot. So I think about 210 to 240 off the tee, you'll be in good shape. Yeah. Of a mid, maybe a short iron in from there.
I would throw in some advice and aim right of the bunker on your tee shot.
Yep.
Yeah, aim right there.
Yep.
It's farther right than you think.
Yeah.
So, all right, par 5, 13. What do you say? There's some decisions on this tee shot.
Yeah,
where to go.
It is, yeah. There's a tree that kind of it's kind of on the left edge of the fairway, but then there's rough to the left of it in a little space. You almost can run it between there and kind of where there's more trees on the left. There's about a 40-yard or probably a 30-yard opening.
Yeah. If
you go right in the fairway past that tree, but very much farther, you can go into the reeds. So if you're a big hitter, you got to kind of make a decision if you're going to lay up to the right in the fairway short of that, or you can try to pound something in the rough. If you're left of that tree and you're in the rough, you still have a pretty easy shot or pretty navigatable shot your second one.
Yeah, I think there's some space to try and pull off your best foie graves and get it between those trees on the left.
Yep.
All right. Number 14, par 4.
Yeah, 14. Dog leg right. This is a hole. I think it would be one where you're going there next weekend with your buddies. You'll have a blast playing it 3 or 4 different times.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this some more, but yeah.
Yeah, you can hit a little iron off the tee. You can try to cut a 3-wood or a driver down there. You could you try to hit a really big driver with a cut or maybe something over the treetops to try to drive the green. And then the green kind of just is sitting nestled down in this nice little corner, and there's a fence back there. I think it's a really unique hole that's got 3 or 4 different ways to play it. But it's if you can, I think, just hit something kind of on the right edge of the fairway, right center of the fairway. 220, you'll kind of catch the slope and it'll kind of bring you down to the green. That's what say play. If you lay back a little farther, you can still hit the green with a wedge or a 9, or you can try to push something up there even farther. But I think like a 220 or 230 shot's pretty safe. Okay. Yeah.
And then we go to 15, par 3, an interesting green.
Yeah. This is a 2-tiered green, and like there's no way you can mistake that it's got 2 tiers. But the pin was on the left for us. So there's like an upper shelf, and then it drops down like 5 feet down to the lower right to a lower right shelf.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if I can think of a bigger shelf on a green that I've played. I mean, it's like a 10-foot drop.
Yeah, it's neat, and there's a bunker that kind of is right where the corner is, where it kind of defines the left side from the right side. So. The biggest thing with that is if it's upper on the left side, you want to make sure you're at the right level, and if it's on the right, you can use the slope a little bit to try to feed it in towards the pin. But I think both places are it would be equally fun playing on the top or the bottom. We happen to play on the top, and I love barns for some reason. I've always loved barns, and then just to the left of the green, there's like a barn / cabin that's right there.
Yeah.
That's looking out over the lake that I would love to, after my round, I'd love to sit in that deck and just look out at the lake. Yeah. So it's in a neat little area of the property.
Yeah. So let's go to 16, which is really the only hole that's fully on the lake.
Yeah, and it wraps around the corner, and so the lake is on your left. It's a dog leg right. It's another gorgeous hole. So I think it's one that you can go straight farther than you think.
Yeah.
So I think if you kind of drive it towards, I would shoot the trees in the far distance and gauge your line based off of that.
Yeah.
I think the tendency is it might be that okay, I need to really cut off a lot of this dog leg, and you might find yourself in the woods or cutting it off too quickly.
Yeah.
Which I did.
Okay.
But you can. I think you can still hit it. 250, 270, almost straight out, along the kind of the right side of the right rough line from the tee, and you're not going to run out of room. You're not going to hit it through the fairway.
Right.
And then that's a slightly uphill second shot. There's a little, I don't even know. I guess it's a little baby creek that kind of runs through the middle of the fairway, about 100 yards from the green, and I would grab maybe another half club or a club on your approach.
Okay.
Yeah. Good hole.
Then we go to 17, par 4.
Yeah, this one I can't wait to hear how this unfolds with you and your buddies, because there's a ton that can go wrong and can go right on this hole. So it's a straightaway par 4, but there's woods on the left, and the fairway is mowed basically right up to the woods, so you can be like you can have your feet in the hazard and your ball can be in the fairway playing from thick woods. But there's also a pond to the right that you have to watch on your tee shot.
Yeah.
And then further up, there's a pond on your left. So you have to, figure out, depending on your tees, what club can you hit comfortably or confidently between those two ponds. Or we were from the whites and it was up and you hit a good drive over the right pond and had a nice angle into the green too.
Yeah.
That's another option if you're at one of the shorter
But
tees.
if I'm playing from the blues, I'm not trying that shot.
Probably not. If you're from the blues or the backs, you're probably just, okay, what can I hit, straight? So it could be a hole where you're hitting 3-wood, then hybrid.
Yeah.
And then the green's kind of a fun green. It's got a little slope to it. It's got a little back to front slope. And, but yeah, there's a ton that can go on. To me, if you're not able to reach the green and you just can lay up short or even to the right, it's not that bad of an up and down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's finish it off with number 18.
18, there's a carryover reads on the tee ball that if you're from the back tees and you're into the wind, it could be a little bit of a carry. And then once you're in the fairway, it's an uphill approach to a green that's maybe I would add maybe a club on, half club to a club on. And there's a hill on the right side, kind of a big slope on the right side of the fairway. So from the tee, I would maybe just shoot that, just to make sure that you got your distance right on that. But just obviously just pipe it down the middle and then anything on the green, just middle of the green is pretty good up there. But there's a decent amount of room around the green to get up and down as well. But it's a good finisher.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Like you said, I'm playing this with my buddies this weekend.
Yeah.
This episode's not going to air until after we play. So, because there's no way I'm going to give those idiots any information through your gimmies. So I've got the inside scoop. I've got the advice from you.
We'll see if it pays off.
Well, it better.
Yeah.
Or this podcast is.
Here's my
yeah. No, so there was another motive behind playing this course. I wanted some insider info from you and from playing it. But there's a lot to get to in the range. So let's do that. Let's get to a segment where we go through everything in the course, and that is the range.
Ready to hit the range? Let's do it! That was good, but again, you gotta clear those hips. Yeah, got it. Thanks.
All right, so let's cover some topics. As always, we'll start out with our favorite holes at Minnesota National. I think there's a lot to choose from here, but we'll start with you. Go ahead.
My favorite hole, I had a hard time picking on this course. It's number 16. The par 4 dogleg right, where you got the lake on the left, the barns by the tee, and I love the tee shot, and I love the look of the lake there, and I think it's a really it's a tremendous green, and where the pin was, where we were in the back, it's over kind of like a little slope that's the middle of the green, so I think there's a lot going on in the tee shot, the approach, and at the green. So I'm going with 16.
And it was funny when we played. There's a twosome ahead of us, but they were letting us play through, and a couple of young guys out there having fun. And we talked to him as we were going through them, and I said, "Well, what lake is that right there?" Because they were low. They said they play here all the time and work there, I think, or I don't know if they work there, but they're around there all the time.
Yeah.
I was like, "What lake is that?" And they're like confused, and one of them's like, "I think it's Rat Lake." I don't think it's Rat Lake. So I looked at. I think it's Flowage Lake.
Yeah, not Rat Lake.
Right, not
yeah.
Rat Lake. But great name for a lake. Rat Lake
Yeah.
is the title.
Yeah.
So Flowage Lake, yeah, on number 16. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later too, but I'm going to go to my favorite hole. I get giddy about this hole. I don't know why, but 14.
I thought you were going to say that.
My favorite hole. I love it. It's a par 4, and I just love how straight away there's a bunker, but if you just go right of that, you're gonna like ride the chute down towards the green, which is tucked away in the corner, just nicely. Just a beautiful layout. I love that hole. I don't know why I was so infatuated with it, but I'm going with 14 as my favorite.
Okay, good choice.
So yeah, then we'll go to signature hole, and that's when I'm gonna take your favorite hole and make it my signature hole. I think it is quite a view because you're not really seeing any water, any lake for most of the course, and then you get to 16, and it's just this beautiful view along the left side, starting with that barn at the tee, and then that lake all the way up, and a nice little creek run through it. When you drive up to the green, take a picture right there of the green looking back at the hole with the lake. That is a phenomenal view. So I'll take your favorite and make it my signature hole.
Okay.
How about you?
I'm going with number 5.
Number
Par 5
okay.
with the 3 different ways to play it off the tee and a multitude of ways to play it. And I just think that's an amazing hole that can be played a lot of different ways. So I'm going with 5.
Okay. Interesting pick. I love that. I love that hole though, and I'll that's probably gonna be my favorite par 5 on the course. But let's go to your hole where you should be searching for birdies.
I put down 14.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, the short one, just because I think that even if you're not feeling it that day, you can probably, hey, if I just get something in this, in the fairway, or if you're feeling it, you're going to have a wedge to a really short wedge in. And I think that there's some pins there that are going to be easy to pin on. So I think 14 is a birdie hole.
Okay. I would think a par 5, one of the par 5s is the birdie hole, but I selected hole number 4, the par 4, which is actually where my cabin is going to be this weekend with my buddies. So, but it's a wide open tee shot. It's pretty safe there, and then a fairly easy approach. Not too long, fairly easy approach into the green, which isn't. There's not a ton of danger around there, so I'm going to go with 4.
Okay. Okay.
So, all right. How about toughest hole out there for you? One where a bogey is a good score.
This is 2 out of the last 3 episodes. My toughest hole's been a par 5. So I'm going with number 10.
Number 10, all right.
Because I think that even if you hit a really good drive, it's a tricky second shot. And if you don't hit a very good drive, you're forced to can I pull off this 205-yard carry, or do I lay up on my second shot? No, I can't get on the green in 3 if I lay up short of the stuff. So I think the par 5 10th is the toughest hole.
Okay. I had 2. Mine is between 2 holes. I almost went with hole number 2 because it is such a difficult tee shot, placing that. You can't miss at all either side, but I'm going with number 17 as my toughest.
Okay.
Like you said, if you're on the left side, you can just run off the fairway right into the woods. No rough there to catch it, slow it down. And then there's that pond on the right side. Again, that's reachable. If you hit it on the right side from the blue tees, you're probably in there. So you really have to place a perfect drive here. And if you take a short, a 5-iron or a 3-wood, you're gonna have a long shot in. So I'm going 17 as my toughest.
Okay.
Now let's get to our favorites. Favorite par 3 on the course. For me, I have to go with 15. I think that green is super cool. the huge
Mhm.
twale. It's just fun, and like I hit one that landed right in the middle of the green and ended up 100 feet to the right, but I was still on the green. I was still
Yeah.
putting.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was just it was almost it was going way away from the pin, but it was fun to watch it roll down there. And I can only imagine if that pin was down low on the right, how
Yeah.
fun that would be to try and hit it on that hill and have it roll down. So I'll go with that as my favorite par three.
Yeah. I think the best par three is number 3. I think it's a mid-length one, so it requires a good shot to hit the green. And I think it's one of those greens that you might play it multiple times and it's kind of perplexing
Yeah.
on how some of the putts are going to move and work. So I think it's sneaky tough. So I'm going number 3.
Okay. How about your favorite par four? And obviously we've talked about our favorite holes a little bit.
Yeah, I had the best par 4. I had 17. I love my favorite part about the hole is that where it's mowed right up to the hazard.
Yeah.
There's a course I played once in Florida with my son Charlie, called Tiburon, and they mowed it was like all fairway up to the hazards and it was so freaking hard because like you'd hit a drive and it'll keep, and usually rough will stop it before it goes in the bunker, but so balls were running into all sorts of trouble if you were a little bit off. So I think that's just a neat feature that I wish we saw more. So I like that, and then the 2 water features, and I'm on pins and needles waiting to hear how the Duluth East boys navigate 17.
God, yeah. If there are some matches, if one of my matches comes down to the 17th hole, that's
Live stream.
Oh God,
Facebook, FaceTime me. So I think 17. It's a good. I think the par fours are really good as a group.
Yeah,
but 17 I think is the best one.
There's not a bad one. Obviously, I love 14.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to deviate from that. I'll stay with 14. And again, I just don't know what it is about that hole. From the tee, it's nothing special. But I as you get up there and you see like how that hole's laid out, I think people will like it. So I'm going 14 as my favorite par 4. And then for my favorite par 5, I'm going to go with your favorite hole, number 5.
Okay.
That is just, especially if you get that, once you get over the danger on your tee shot, if you're sitting okay, it's not an easy hole, but it's a picturesque hole.
Yeah.
It's kind of uphill, a lot of trees around, kind of slope to the right on the right side of the green. It's a really nice layout of a par 5. So I'll go there.
Yeah. My best par 5 vote was number 13. I think I like the uprights, the foie revés to try to split the uprights on the drive. And then the pin was left when we played it, and so meaning you had to lay up to the right. Otherwise, so we all laid up on the left side of the fairway, of course, and we're kind of semi blocked out by that tree. There's a tree there, and then the green has a few different tiers and levels. I think
is that the 3-tier?
Yeah,
there's a 3-tier green. That was it, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of and so the layup it's sneaky tricky on the layup, and then it's especially if it's on the left side, then you've got to really kind of flirt with that right hazard. So I think 13 is a really good par 5, but I like all par 5s actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What about everything else? So you get into Minnesota National, driving through the small towns up north, pull in, great clubhouse to start off. It feels like it's fairly new. I didn't ask anyone how recent they built it, but the clubhouse is great.
Yeah.
And everything is, again, we played a course earlier, Loggers Trail, where we talked about how everything is just centrally located right there by the clubhouse.
Yeah.
Very much similar with Minnesota National.
Yeah, it's got a good feel. You've got a really nice vista when you look out from the deck and the restaurant area.
Yeah.
And you've got the range area. You've got there's a par 3 course which we didn't play, but that starts there too, and the first hole and the 9th hole and the putting green, and there's a nice buzz there. So it's beautiful, and I think it's the kind of place where you're going up there with a group of guys. You guys have a blast hanging out.
Yeah.
Up there.
Yeah. Well,
good field, good clubhouse.
How much fun we have is dependent on how we play oftentimes. Some of us react better to poor play than others. So we'll see. I'm glad we're doing this before
that's right.
my trip because if we did it after, I might not have as nice things to say, depending on how I do.
Yeah.
But one thing, this isn't even a complaint because we played. Well, it was really soggy. That's no fun. I mean, it had been pouring rain up there every day for the last 2 weeks. So, so there's no complaint there. I would also say that might be why we didn't see any beverage carts throughout around. It was a weekday morning, so that's another reason there weren't too many people out on the course. But it's just kind of a cool, crisp day in July where it wasn't too hot, so it didn't bother us too much. But I'm hoping that changes. I think that will change on a weekend.
Yes.
Trip with my buddies. So, what else stood out to you about Minnesota National?
The conditions were excellent. The putt, every green was great. The putting green was good. I was like, man, I hope the greens are like this. They were top notch. It was really good conditions, and the fairways were excellent too. Again, I was impressed with how well it drained. Actually, I was like, well, we cart path along. They're like, no, just kind of keep out of the puddles if you see them. So we were not cart path only, which I couldn't believe, but there really weren't that many saturated areas despite all the rain. So, but I thought the fairways were in great shape, and the greens were top notch.
Yeah, carts also really nice. GPS on them.
Glenn liked the carts. Good carts. They were they were excellent.
Thumbs up on those. What else? What else can you say? Just I don't think that when the great courses of northern Minnesota are talked about, you often hear about Giants Ridge, Superior National, the Wilderness, of course, and Deacon's Lodge, and the Brainerd Lakes courses. I don't feel like people talk about Minnesota National much. And when my buddy, who of course won our guys trip last year, he gets to pick the location. He picked Minnesota National. I quite honestly, I think I've heard of it, but didn't ever have any designs on going to play there.
Yeah.
I'm glad he picked it because it is going to be a fun course. Like nice cabins along. Like it's a perfect guys trip golf course for sure. Unless you're trying to play two different courses or something. There's only one main course, but it's going to be a blast up there. It is a really, really solid course for an event like this where we play matches and drink a lot, and it'll be fun.
Oh yeah, talk snappy, as my dad would say. To me, like Quarry, Wilderness, Deacon's Lodge are probably like in the upper echelon, right? Of public and something.
Yeah.
I know that Minnesota National's in that class, but it's not far behind. So I talked to a couple of buddies, talked to JP and Birdie, and said we're going up there for a day and playing 36. So it's an excellent course. We had a really good lunch after in the clubhouse.
We did.
Yeah, the service was great there and in the pro shop. Really warm and friendly, so I'm sure you'll have nothing but hospitality.
Yeah, they were great. Like you said, we had two different servers, but they were both awesome. And when we went out back or on the patio to film our emergency 9 with Kyle Schmidt, there was music playing back there. I was like, "Is there any chance we can get the music turned off back there?" Like 30 seconds later, it was off, and it's always weird to be like, we're filming a podcast video up here. We've got Kyle Schmidt from UMD Bulldogs. I don't know if you know him, but can you turn the music down for us?
Yeah. That happens all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, high score, and maybe part of it is this course that I've never played before. And when you never play a course, you play for the first time, and you have so much fun with it.
Mm-hmm.
That always helps. It's not like we were discovering a hidden gem because this is considered a very solid course.
Yeah.
But quite a round, quite a layout in McGregor.
Yeah, I think it's underrated. And I played at Cragen's. They redid their courses over the last few years, and they got the Layman course as kind of their feature course. I played it last summer with Charlie and liked it a lot. This reminded me of that course. A lot of holes. I liked it a little bit better than the Layman course, to be honest with you. Yeah, so I and that one is kind of typically highly regarded, and they host the pro tournament and all this stuff, but I'd rather go to Minnesota National.
Gosh, man, when this gets out to the media, and that statement. So Brandon Molesky might nominate that for preposterous.
Controversial. Let's bring it on. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's since we got the volume turned down on the patio, we were able to do our emergency 9 with Kyle Schmidt.
Mm-hmm.
I had the honor of talking to him. Thanks for letting me do that. I think it made sense. I know more about his team than he did, I think.
And I think if I had insisted on interviewing him, it would have been the last episode of Golf Loons too. So there's that.
It might not have aired. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go to the emergency 9 with Kyle Schmidt.
Hey, hon, how are you? Oh, that's awesome. Hey, listen, we still have 9 holes to go here today. It is really backed up out here. I'm sorry. I love you. Oh, yeah, thanks again. Okay, love you. Bye. We're good.
Okay, welcome to the emergency 9 here at beautiful Minnesota National Golf Course in McGregor, Minnesota. And we are joined by, I'm honored to have our special guest today in the emergency 9, Kyle Schmidt, author of one of the greatest goals, I would say, in Minnesota hockey history, but certainly in UMD history. Scored the national championship winning goal against Michigan in 2011, and he was kind enough to join us here today. Now he's also head coach for the girls at Cloquet Esco Carleton, entering his first year there. So we're excited to have you here. It was great playing with you, Kyle. First off, what'd you think of Minnesota National?
Oh my gosh. Well, first off, thanks for inviting me to play. It was fun getting out and getting to know Twig here. But my goodness, what a beautiful course. I loved the challenge and kind of picking your spots and just in great shape. Obviously a little wet after a lot of rain last night, but that's to be expected.
Yeah, well, you said it was the third round of the year for you.
Yeah.
You played exceptionally well for third round. So
well, thank you very much.
Yeah,
yeah. Typically, awesome. I get like 9 holes in a year for the last 4 or 5 years, so I'll take it.
Yeah, that happens with 4 kids, right?
Yeah.
So, well, let's get into the emergency 9. We don't want to waste your time. You're a busy man. But first off, just tell us a little bit about your golf story, what golf means to you, how you got involved in it, and where you're at now with it.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you where, like, the moment it happened. I just probably around 12 got a crappy pair of used clubs because some friends were going and wanted to learn. And then in high school, it really picked up going with high school buddies and sometimes by myself if no one could go. I just loved the challenge of working on your game and you could kind of see the hard work you put in. Typically, over time, you saw results on the course too. So I really like that aspect of it too, and just pushing myself. And then had a bunch of fun in college playing golf with teammates too. So a lot of good memories. And now it's with family and friends here and there. So just making the most of my time on the golf course. And every time you hit a nice shot, it's like, oh, I wish I could golf way more. So maybe someday.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, now you got a new course to
Yeah.
not that far from
not at all.
from your home. So you got a new course to play. So do you have you talked about playing as a kid growing up. Is there a favorite course that you played in Minnesota or Wisconsin, or one that means something to you?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to get away from the roots and where I really started to play golf, which was Anger. And I just absolutely love the middle 9 there. We kind of talked about it on the course a little bit, but it just has great changes in elevation. It's usually in great shape there too, and just have a lot of sentimental golf shots and just growing with the game there and friends.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And do you get the chance to go play Anger?
I honestly have not played Anger. Oh my gosh, it's been a long time, but I feel like that needs to be my next course that I go play at because I miss it.
Right. Well, I'm a Duluth native too, and I do feel like when people think of golf in Duluth, they always think of Northland or Ridgeview Country Club, but there is a great public course in Duluth.
Yeah,
Anger
absolutely.
Park is it. So, well, that's great. Okay, so we're sticking with golf for now. You get to play. Get to go to Anger, but you get to invite 3 people, dead or alive, to join your foursome. Who are you picking?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a bit of a cop out because there's no way I could pick just 3, but it would be either 3 high school buddies or 3 college teammates that I just haven't seen in a long time, or at least haven't played golf with in a long time.
Sure.
That would be the dream because definitely don't hang out with those guys enough, and had tons of good memories with both high school and college friends. So definitely a set of that.
All right. Well, good segue, because now I want to talk a little bit about your college hockey days, and I could have made all 9 questions about this. As you know, I'm, diehard UMD fan. My parents were diehard UMD fans, and so you scoring that goal against Michigan in 2011 was a highlight in sports for our family, as fans anyway. So it's been 15 years since then. So I know you've run the gamut of almost being kind of shy about it right after it happens, and now it's 15 years later. Just of all the questions I'll ask about it, I'll just say, looking back 15 years, what are your memories and emotions from that
Yeah.
night?
Well, first off, 15 years is crazy to think about, and I also mentioned that on the course. Like, it feels like it's 8 lifetimes ago. Like, so much has happened since. But it gets cooler and cooler the more time that passes, and it's like, okay, yeah, that was incredible. Especially when people come up to you, like kids that I coach, like they find a video on YouTube, or it starts spreading like that, and then they start asking questions or stuff like that. So it's cool seeing them get excited because they weren't even alive for it. So that's cool to see. But my favorite part is just hearing other people's experiences about what they were doing if they were at the game, where they were sitting, or they were in Florida watching on a TV and made the people get it on at the bar or whatever, because no hockey was on, just stuff like that. And then a really cool memory, I guess, from that was my phone was just blowing up after, and I didn't check it that whole night. The next morning, though, we had some downtime, and we went to a Twins game, I think, as a team, and was responding to everyone and calls and everything, and my phone just sizzled, from all the missed calls and then calling back and everything. So that was pretty cool, and just the people. I don't know, it's kind of overwhelming when that many people reach out to you about something that you did, and definitely pretty awesome experience.
I can only imagine. So, little sidebar, not part of the emergency 9, but did you have any idea after you scored that goal that you were doing a snow angel celebration and what that would turn it like? People going after that, anytime you did a snow angel, would be like, I'm doing the Kyle Schmidt. Right?
Yeah.
Like it was an iconic celebration.
Yeah, so I mean, I've said this many times to people who have asked about that. And I mean, when you play on a team with Jack and Mike Connolly and Justin Fontaine, you don't anticipate you're going to be getting a goal like that. So no, none of that was pre-thought out, pre-scripted. That was just pure emotion, and probably 50 some years in the making for UMD hockey that just came out in one celebration, and no clue where it came from. It just happened. I still feel bad. You can see in the video, I totally duck around Brady Lamb. He's coming to like hug me and duck around and go and do the snow angel. So I feel bad about that, but it's pretty funny.
He's probably okay with it.
Yeah, he caught up with me.
Yeah. Okay, so let's go back before college hockey. You are a product of the Hermantown hockey system, a multi-sport athlete, I should add. You're a cross country and track runner in high school.
Yep.
But people talk about hockey factories here and there around the country or wherever it might be, but I would contend that Hermantown might be the most not talked about and successful hockey factory there is. So I'm curious why you think that is. What does Hermantown do that's so good at producing high level hockey players?
Well, I think it's probably the under layers that most people, they just see the finished product and say, well, it must be nice and all that stuff. But I think it goes back to the parents in the community. I think the rink was built the year I was born, that fought to get that community an actual rink. Because before that, the high school team is going down to the deck at 6 a.m. for practices, they're borrowing ice time from other rinks. They don't have a place they can call home.
Right.
So it's hard to get much done until you have a rink. And that was built in 87. 7 years later, they go to state for the first time in 94. So that starts building it up. And then I think the biggest thing that they have done are all the outdoor rinks. I don't think kids rink rat enough, but Hermantown continues to rink rat because it's not one rink here in the city, one rink there. They're all at the same spot. They have a dedicated warming shack, a dedicated person zamming those outdoor rinks only.
Yeah.
So kids can just go get some money from parents for the concession stand and rink rat. I mean, that's what we did growing up, you'd spend all day at the rink. And I think the vision of those dads in the community and parents who fought for not only the rink, but then to have those utilize that space for outdoor rinks to get kids out on them, and just get them hanging out with their friends, but also getting better at the same time without even realizing it.
Right.
I think that underlines so much, and probably isn't talked about enough, is the time and dedication by those parents back then that made sure future generations would have those resources available is huge.
Right.
And then obviously late 90s, they start going to state almost every year until I start playing high school hockey there. And then we never went. But then right after, I think my brother was a junior, they took third, and then they went undefeated and won in his senior year. And then they just went on a tear after that of getting to the championship game at least, and just having lots of success. And I think they're up to 4 state championships. So yeah, it's definitely a hockey factory, I'd say. But I think it goes back to those parents that put in the time and dedication for free, I'm sure,
Right.
to make sure that the rink and then outdoor rinks were there.
Right. Okay. So you're known for your hockey exploits at UMD, but post hockey, really a passion of yours is running, right? And distance running, and you run marathons happening. So I just want to, what does running mean to you? We talked about golf, but what does running mean to you? What's that connection for you there?
So, I mean, I ran cross country starting in 6th grade, which is the earliest you could start, track in 7th grade. So really hockey was squished between running for me, long distance, and then eventually doing sprints too in high school. But I mean, I always knew whenever hockey's over, I'm going to get back into running, because I just loved it. And like cross country is so fun and quirky, and you'd think that, oh man, how could that be any fun? You're going and crushing yourself in practice, in meets, but like you're rooting for the other teams. Like you get to know friends. Like I've got great friends that I met in high school or through the years in cross country or track. Even though you're competing against each other, it just wasn't as ruthless as maybe hockey was. There's no chirping going on or anything like that. Where
Never.
I mean, maybe a little, but just in jest for fun versus like in hockey. I mean, yeah, you're out for blood. Oh yeah, especially Minnesota. But with cross country and track, like it was just so fun that I always knew whenever hockey's done, I'm gonna get back into that. And yeah, it's just been a blast. And then finding my love for trail running, because I love getting in the woods, camping, and I spent a ton of time camping, like in the Superior National Forest growing up. So it's fun to just run through the woods and combine the two. Yeah, because I don't get as much time camping up north as I would like, but I can go to Jay Cook and run on the trails every day. So
it seems like you have a lot of passions that maybe grew up with a lot of, outdoors, camping, being on the trails, hockey, running, golf, everything. So well-rounded. Did you have an inspiration, or is someone that inspired you to kind of love the things that you ended up loving?
I mean, my parents obviously helped cultivate my passions and would support me and put a ton of money into the activities that I wanted to pursue. But as far as like one person, huge inspiration, I wouldn't really say so. But I mean, I'd say that the dominant sports figures of the time when I was growing up, they played a huge role as far as like seeing what hard work could get you, or man, just being in awe of how good they were, and knowing like I'll never be that good, but it's still worth trying, and putting in the work.
Right.
Yeah. So probably just I was obsessed. I watched Sports Center all the time, and just loved sports. I soaked everything up that I could, and tried to learn as much as I could. But definitely just like the big time athletes of the day when I was growing up were definitely inspiration.
Cool. All right. So you're going into coaching now, your first year as a high school coach, but you've played for some legendary coaches, Bruce Plant at Hermantown, Scott Sandelman at UMD. What are some philosophies that you intend to incorporate? It could be from them, and maybe it's your own philosophies, but what are the philosophies that you want to bring to this team in Cloquet?
Yeah. So like you mentioned, definitely some good coaches in the mix there. I mean, I just really want the girls to work hard, but have fun doing it and enjoy their time at the rink. I want them to can't wait to get done with school so they can get to the rink. Because that's really where the work gets put in, is if you're not having fun getting to the rink, maybe you're only putting 50% effort into shooting extra pucks or anything, or might not be doing it at all. But if you can build that culture of, hey, let's get to the rink, have a blast. It can be a light mood, but then it's time to focus and let's go to work and sharpen each other, where games almost become easy, because you're working so hard in practice with each other, helping to build each other up. I think that's so be ready to work, but also to have a lot of fun and just respect each other. I mean, we don't have to be best friends with everyone. That's not realistic on a high school team, let alone life. So just you have to respect everyone. They don't need to be your best friends, but we're in this together. And then extend that respect outside of the locker room to refs, opposing players, opposing coaches, fans, saying thank you to the people that are volunteering at the game, stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's great. We need more high school coaches like that. So that's great that you're entering the fray here.
Yeah.
All right. So to wrap things up with our last question. So you've obviously had a lot of athletic success. Now you've had success in the business world and as a family man. I just want to know, do you have a motto or a credo or just a way you live your life, something that a philosophy that you have?
Yeah. I mean, I never really have had a set one, but then when you sent me the question, it got me thinking. And I would say a lot of it could just be summed up into put in the work. Yeah, you might hear some ultra unicorn story of someone just getting lucky, or it's perceived that they worked hard, but really it was just, but overnight successes typically aren't overnight successes. They're decades in the making of consistent hard work day after day, because people typically only think like linear growth. So like 1 + 1 + 1. Yeah, you'll see growth, but the real magic is in that compounding where it starts going exponential curve up. And that's what most people's brains can't grasp. I mean, I can't fully grasp it myself, but that's what you shoot for. And if you stack up wins day after day after day, 1% better every day, 10 years later, you're this much further than everyone. So I think just putting the work in, like there's no free lunches, work hard, and just do it consistently. It's more important to do consistent good efforts than trying to get that one perfect effort once a year. You'll beat that all day long. So put in the work.
It's good. It's good advice for me as I get ready for my guys' golf trip coming up, because I've not really put in the work.
Yeah, get to the
I was just hoping to get a ride would be really good.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle, it's been a pleasure. Like, I've gotten to know you a little bit. Obviously, you provided an amazing moment for so many people with that goal, but it's been really cool to learn that you're more than just the guy that's scored that goal. You're a great person beyond that, and just like I said, really well-rounded and, and a great person to be around. So thank you for that goal, because you made my dad able to die in peace, and myself too. But also thank you for your friendship and playing golf with us and sharing your insights today. It was awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for thinking about me and inviting me to play. And hopefully it's not the last time we get out for some golf.
Absolutely not. And we'll be back here for sure. So
sounds good.
All right, Kyle. Thank you.
All right. So that was awesome for me to be able to talk to him. I've gotten to know Kyle a little bit over the years. And I'm not big on, this athlete, I need his autograph or whatever, but we'll show it on Instagram and the podcast, or, our YouTube video. But the only autographed item I own is a picture of him about to score that goal. It's signed by him, Travis Alexiuk, and JT Brown, who are also in that shot. And as a kid growing up, whose dad and mom were just diehards of that team since I was a baby, before I was a baby. My dad actually went to law school at Minnesota after graduating from UMD and bought season tickets to the Gophers so he could cheer for every team that played against the Gophers. So it's in my blood to dislike the Gophers and to love the Bulldogs. And so my dad was there that night. I was also there that night. We're sitting next to each other, but gosh, it was just what a moment. And that was just a great team. Kyle, he'll be the first to say, like, I just scored the goal, but that was such a team effort. It was just such a fun team to watch. Just great players, the Conley brothers, Justin Fontaine, Justin Falk, who's still playing in the NHL. But that, we're tortured fan base in Minnesota when it comes to pro sports and in college sports, but that win ended a lot of fan misery for me. And so anything can happen with the Vikings and Timberwolves and Wild and Twins. Like I've got my one and then two more national championships for the Bulldogs. So I'll die happy.
You can die a happy man.
Yeah.
I had never met Kyle. I enjoyed playing with him a lot, and he's just a terrific person. He's a good human, and so that was evident pretty quickly into our round.
Yeah.
And so I was excited to hear what he would say in the emergency nine, and then as soon as I got home, I went back and watched his goal and like some of his post game and sound bites, and he sounds just as mature and the same then was probably a 23-year-old kid then when he scored the goal. He's also, I know you're going to mention, he's going to be the coach this year for the Cloquet girls team.
Yes.
High school. So now I'm like, well, I'm on that bandwagon now.
Yeah.
So I want to see them get to St. Paul, and I'm going to be following I'll show my age, the box scores. I'll be following the box scores of his team and wish him nothing but the best there. But what a great person. And so it's neat when I've learned trust me, I've learned a lot about UMD hockey since meeting you, more than I ever thought I would know. But it was fun meeting a person that scored a goal that big. That's just super humble.
There couldn't have been a better person to score that goal because as he told me this in the past, he's almost embarrassed by the fact that he got a ton of attention for that, especially right after. But for years, I mean, people still recognize him and will point him out if he's out in public and stuff. But he doesn't sit there and talk about himself. And I was I was hesitant to even ask him to do it because he's not the kind of guy that likes to talk about himself. I don't think too much.
Yeah.
He's a really well-spoken guy and super fun to talk to, but I just thought I didn't know if he would want to do it, but he was just kind enough to take some time off work, meet us at the golf course, and it wasn't just fun talking in the emergency nine. It was fun having him throughout the 18 holes. So it was quite the honor for me to be able to talk to Mr. Schmidt. There's lots of UMD Bulldogs from years past that I would love to talk to, but I'm really glad he was the first.
Yep. Yeah. Love meeting him.
Yeah. So thanks to Kyle Schmidt. Thanks to all of you for listening and watching. I think we converted a former St. Lawrence hockey player to root for the Bulldogs after meeting Kyle and Cloquet too. So
Cloquet for sure. I do like the Bulldogs. I do root for them. You got mad at me when I rooted against them one game and they're playing against one of my friends' teams he was coaching. Then we got through it and we got past that. Yeah.
Well,
they were playing.
I don't know. I've gotten over it.
But no, I even more after meeting Kyle and knowing what he's about and what makes him tick and how he talks about that team and his teammates and how he just saw himself as a lunch bucket guy, and that's kind of his approach with life. He just works head down, works hard, treats people the right way.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see. So I know he's successful in all these areas. I can't wait to see how that translates to his high school coach.
Our other guests are going to be, how come you didn't talk about us as much in such a nice way that you did about Kyle? Wait for the Bulldogs, guys.
Yeah.
That'll help. No, but thanks to Kyle. Thanks to everyone. I guarantee if you follow us on Instagram, TikTok, our website, golfloons.com, our YouTube channel, you'll see a lot of pictures, videos from UMD hockey. So if you're a Bulldog fan, we'll cover you there. And thanks to Yellowbird Coffee. Anything else to?
I just wanted to thank. We haven't thanked him really since one of our first few episodes. DJ Trush, who's got our intro music and our outro music. Our friend from Australia. So check them out on Spotify or Apple Music.
Nobody's gonna call us professional podcasters, at least not yet. But our intro is as professional as it gets. Thanks.
It's legit. It's with DJ and then Fallness's voice.
And Fallness's voice and Molesky helping us get
and Dark Star's
voice in there.
But it all starts with DJ Trush.
Absolutely. Thank you, DJ.
Thanks, DJ.
Trush. I know it's really early in the morning where you're at right now, but we appreciate it. So we'll see you next time with another course. Until then, stay on plane. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Where'd we play? Where'd we play?